15 years ago, it was clear that they were going to need a new library in Maple Grove. So we'd been tracking this project for a long time. The very first project I worked on when I moved to Minnesota was for Hennepin County. It was their regional library in Brooklyn Park. I got to know many of the administrative heads of the library, as well as people associated with the facilities management group at Hennepin County. Out of that relationship came two very significant library projects for us. One was the expansion and renovation of the Ridgedale Library and the total rebuilding and renovation of the Southdale Library.
The Maple Grove Library project came to us through the traditional means of submitting a proposal. We interviewed for the project, and this actually happened several years before the project was constructed.
The director of the library at that time also had changed to Amy Ryan. Amy and I discussed the idea of a radically new way of programming the building. Programming meaning what's to go in it, how big it's going to be, how much space is allocated for different functions. And Hennepin County had also set up, parallel to that, a new innovation center where they were testing new ideas about how to do circulation desk, how to provide public service, how to rethink the way the public library works in the new digital age.
Hennepin County is nationally known as being a leader in library service, so it was very exciting for us to be part of this new initiative in ways of serving their customers. So a lot of the programming process was spent figuring out what that really meant in terms of a building. So rather than just identifying we need a staff space and it needs to be X amount of square feet, we were really thinking about what are the new staff functions based on this new service model.
Well, as the project evolved, some of those innovations got reformulated. The percentage of space didn't quite match what we originally thought, but more or less it reset the way to think about libraries.
The major social challenge for us with this library was to create a sense of place where one didn't really exist. Because we normally draw from the context of a site, of a community, of the surrounding buildings and such, to draw inspiration for our design work and to create enduring architecture, we struggled a little bit at the beginning to find what it was that would make this place great.
In addition to all of that programmatic and design background, Maple Grove itself as a city was growing and expanding. They had done a master plan for their downtown village area. They had built a retail area that was trying to emulate a small town. They have a sort of a main street, and they wanted this building to integrate into that. So the site that was finally selected for the new Maple Grove Library was adjacent to a city park, a new civic center across from a senior center. So it had all the attributes of being a tighter-knit central kind of city, and not like a sort of suburban sprawl.
The Maple Grove Library provided us with a lot of opportunities in terms of sustainable design. There was a lake adjacent to the site that we used for geothermal heating and cooling of the building. We also, because of the compact size of the building, used a lot of strategies to make the interior feel lifted and feel good to be inside and bring in as much natural light as we could. And one of the strategies that we used was to lift and fold the planes of the roof itself. So we harvested enough daylight to offset about 23% of the energy costs of running that building, which is significant, especially in a library where operating costs are fixed, and that meant a lot to the county that we were able to do that.
We created a zone between the teen area and the children's area that was an interactive homework center. So students could basically sit in booths, could work together on projects, and when students weren't there during the day, adults could come in and use it and work together on small book projects or meeting to talk about something. The library was very interested in serving the aging population, which interestingly enough, along with the teens, are the two fastest growing users of the libraries in the United States today. We all have fond memories of, in the summertime, reading a book under a tree and the sort of dapple light and the cool breezes. But because we were using a raised floor, we were able to use a heat pump system with the heat recovery loops in the pond next to the site, have a very, very low velocity of conditioned air rising from the floor, and stratifying the cool air at the comfort level and the warm air rising and taking all the pollutants away with it and then being extracted, filtered, and brought back in the lower level. So it's very quiet. There's no overhead ducts at all. There's no noise from the system. It's very peaceful. One of the most important aspects of the Maple Grove Library is that it's designed in a way kind of an anti-program, because no one really knows right now what the shape or the form of the new public library is going to take in the next 50 to 100 years. The digital revolution is changing everyone's perspective of how they get content, their relationship with their vendors like Amazon or their local bookstore, their relationship to online downloading and ebooks and video content. There's such a revolution going on right now, and there's such an uncertainty about what the future is going to hold, even for the public library, that Hennepin County, in their foresight, wanted to make sure that the building allowed them to be able to make changes quickly and not let the building interfere with their ability to reprogram that building as time went along.